Hey guys, it's Bill from Linden, Tennessee. Progress continues on the front mower. I've gone ahead and decided to do the 4-bar link, but I think I've come up with a way to modify it so that it can follow the terrain of the yard. Now, with a typical 4-bar link, the 4-bar link controls several axes. It controls the up and down, which would be, in aircraft terms, it would be pitch, so nose up and nose down. And it controls yaw, which would be wing tips forward and back. And it also, but it does not control roll, which would be wing tips up and down. And of course, it would control the y-axis here, but well, on a parallel 4-bar link, it doesn't have any control for the x-axis. I think I got those axes right, xy. Anyway, but if you do diagonals on the top links, the x-axis is controlled. And that's what we want. Except, whenever I'm mowing the grass, I want the front of the mower to go down if I go over the top of a hill or something. And I want it to go up if I start climbing a hill. So I need a way to unhitch that axis of the 4-bar. And the way I'm going to do this, I think, if it works, is I've got these little arms there and these big plates. I'll need to make another plate for the inside. I need to tidy all this up anyway. This is obviously rough, but and I'll have a pin. I'll have a pin right through here, and it'll go to the other plate, and it'll obviously go through the little swing arm here, and that will hold that swing arm from moving so that the 4-bar can do 4-bar things. When I want the pitch to be able to move, the front of the mower to go up and down, I can remove that pin, and then that will allow the back to come up. Essentially, it'll make this swing arm tilt back, and it'll allow the front to come up, and the swing arm will tilt down. And yeah, and then what I can do is possibly I can put a pin back here. I can take that pin out and put it right here, and that will limit how far down it can go so that it doesn't over center this whole thing and end up putting me into a terrible mess. And for a maintenance mode, what I can do is I can put the pin down here and then raise the back of the mower all the way up. I'm going to have a winch in there. I'll talk about that in a minute. Raise the back of the mower all the way up and then pick the front up. And then as I pick the front up higher, this swing arm will come down, and then I can put the pin through here and it'll hold the nose of the mower up, and I can get under there and do maintenance or something like that. I don't know, but that's just kind of what I'm thinking, and that'll just happen on both sides. I think that'll work out pretty good. Last time, if you watched the last video, I talked about my little winch in here. This is just a hand crank one like you'd find on the front of a boat trailer, and I thought that was going to be good enough because I didn't really plan on moving the height of the deck very much. The only time I'd need it high is for my fields, or I got like 2 or 3 acres of pasture that I keep cut high, and I only do that, every second or third cut or whatever. So I don't run the mower deck up very high very often. Most of the time it's down low for the rest of my yard. And I thought that that's all I would need, and whenever I needed to raise it up, then I'd just go crank, crank, crank and lift this thing up. But then I got to think about it. That's no good, because I actually do need to raise this mower deck every single time after I mow, because to get in and out of my shed, there's like a step where the concrete pad is. So I need to be able to get this thing up off the ground so I don't bash my front wheels there every time I go in the garage. So I need to be able to lift this thing, and I need to be able to do it from the seat. I don't want to have to pull the hood up every time and crank, 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 and and then before I cut, go out there and crank, 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 and put it back down again. So I'm gonna put an electric winch in there. And the way that's gonna work is, well, that orientation is gonna go right there. And there's enough room. There's one little bar that crosses over there, and there's plenty of room where I can put the middle of that drum, of the winch drum, right there. Then I can just have a switch on the dash or on the console or somewhere, and I can just raise and lower the deck from the seat. So I raise it up to go into the shed and lower it to to start mowing again, or raise it up and cut my tall grass, and then the weight of the mower will just rest on the winch. Now the problem with this winch, these little winches like this, they don't have a brake, and I don't think it's going to be a problem because this deck doesn't weigh very much, but it could be. And if it is a problem, I don't know what I'm going to do about it. Because what will happen is the weight of that deck, maybe in a static position, it wouldn't cause the drum to unwind. But if I'm going along and like hit a bump or something, and the mower deck like jumps up and slams down, it might be enough weight or force to unwind the deck. I don't know. That's a problem for future Bill. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get rid of that hand crank winch and put in an electric winch, which is kind of cool because, you know, you got a winch. Why not? I had to go buy a lawn and garden tractor battery, and that will basically go underneath this big battery. I used to have 2 motors in here, and I've got a big sort of cavernous space back there that I can mount that secondary 12-volt battery, as well as the little relay contactor situation that allows the winch to go up and down. And that will be kind of cool, I think. And I can even maybe put like another switch right here so that I can operate this from up front. And because I'll need to use that winch to raise and lower this deck to be able to put these pins in, I think. So that's how that's going to be. I also made some little casters for the front. And this is just 1/4-inch flat bar. It's 2 pieces right there welded together. And then that's 1 piece cut with a notch in it and welded back together. And I just kind of guessed at where the thing should go and aligned it so that it would have clearance when it swivels around, and then made this top surface level with respect to the deck. Use one of these doohickeys. This is the greatest thing in the world if you do this kind of stuff, because this doesn't care if your floor is level. And it doesn't matter if your floor is level, but if you zero that right there and then zero that right there, that's level to the deck, and that's all that matters. So yeah, made those little doohickeys, one on the left, one on the right, and mirrored them so that they're asymmetric, you know, so one's the left side, one's the right side, and put them on there. That worked pretty good. This is just a 1/2-inch chrome rod with some oil light bushings. These are like copper or brass sleeves that are impregnated with oil or lube or something like that. And whenever I made this thing, I didn't have these pressed in here yet. Figured out where everything goes, and then welded this, and then pressed these in there and just ran a little 1/2-inch drill through it to get them round again. Because if you have these bushings in there, when you weld it, it'll end up melting all that lube out of them, and that's no good. But yep, that's it, I think. And I don't know, just kind of making progress. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.